Well, welcome everybody. This is the Explore Episcopal Girls Soccer session, and I am Alex Smith. I work in the admissions office, and I am joined today by Coach Fitzpatrick, who's the head varsity girls soccer coach, and Minta and Lucy, who are members of the varsity girls soccer team. So I will kick it off to them so they can introduce themselves, and then we'll get going.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bryce. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. I came to Episcopal in the middle of my sophomore year in January. I'm a senior now. And other than soccer, I also play basketball, and I'm a member of the activities committee. And I love this program so much.
Hi, I'm Lucy Schmachtenberger. I'm a senior at EHS. I came my sophomore year. I was a new sophomore. I'm a senior now. Other than soccer, I'm an active member of the activities committee and community council.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jen Fitzpatrick. I'm the head girls varsity soccer coach. I'm also the director of girls athletics, and this is my 14th year at Episcopal. In my time here, I've coached varsity soccer, JV soccer. I've also coached varsity lacrosse and varsity basketball. So I've gotten a pretty good sense for all of the different offerings that we have here at Episcopal. Prior to coming here, I played collegiate soccer, actually soccer, basketball, and lacrosse, and then went on to coach both lacrosse and soccer at the college level for a few years before coming to Episcopal, and actually have found that it was a very easy transition. Coaching here feels very much like coaching a Division III institution. And I think a lot of the same things that were really emphasized when I was coaching the college level hold true here. We want to be competitive every step of the way, but we want to do it in a way that prioritizes sportsmanship, citizenship, and a commitment to being really great teammates. And being a fall sport, we're often kind of your first family as you come to Episcopal as a new student. We want to make sure that we're providing an environment that makes you feel good about having an opportunity to compete, but also to build some relationships with peers and coaches that will be really valuable throughout your entire time at Episcopal. I think we're really intentional about making a point to be good teammates and finding ways to celebrate successes of teammates, and then really support each other when you might be struggling either on the field or off the field. And, I bet Minta and Lucy can speak to moments where they've felt both of those things. But kind of bringing that sense of discipline and commitment to each other enables us to, be successful on the field, because when you're doing those little things right, winning usually comes as part of the package. Most importantly, we want to have fun, and I think we really do. We've got a great group of girls who love playing soccer, but as you heard from girls earlier, love doing lots of different things on campus and have lots of different interests. And kind of this family that we build as part of the program is a family that holds true and supporting each other and all those different interests as well.
Awesome. Well, Minta and Lucy, can you talk a little bit? We have the slide up of the facilities. Can you talk a little bit about kind of where you practice and where you compete on campus?
So where we compete and practice, so there's like 3 fields right now: Cox, Hoxton, and Bryant. And usually during the week we switch off with the boys varsity team like on Bryant Field, which is like our main field, we say. And like all the girls like love Bryant. That's like our favorite field, which is like the center of like the athletic facilities. And then Hoxton is the field with the track, and then Cox is a turf field.
And then we also we have an awesome locker room, and I'll have to say about the weight room and the gym, I had never really been like that interested in like working out or being in the gym, but it just is so awesome, and there's so much to do. I mean, if you just want to run or you want to lift weights, they have people in there who can help you. And then with our team, we went into the weight room and did things that I felt like were really helpful. And I'd never really done any type of lifting or anything like that. So they have a serious, if that's what you're into, they have a very serious and awesome gym and weight room. So I love Bryant, but I love all the fields. And I think we have a new track coming in too. So there's just a lot of great options, anything that you want to do. There's also a lot of options to work by yourself that they have for you if you want to get extra time in or anything like that. So.
Awesome. Well, so Coach Fitz, how does your program look different for an athlete who might be looking to play at a collegiate level or is really sort of at a higher skill level, and then maybe someone who has never played soccer before or has played a little bit but isn't necessarily at that high of a skill level? How do you kind of approach both of those athletes and then everyone that sort of falls in between?
Yeah, so we have two different levels. We'll have a JV team and a varsity team, and each of those teams typically have 20 to 25 girls. As you work through the admissions process, we try to figure out, whether trying out for the varsity team initially is a good choice for you, whether that's a place where you would develop the best kind of coming in. And we often have girls who will start off on the JV level and progress to the varsity level. But if you're somebody who's coming in with considerable experience, if you're a competitor, if you're somebody who is looking to play at the collegiate level or just compete every day at the varsity level, then we would invite you to participate in our preseason training, which happens at the end of August. It's usually about 10 days where we're able to have double sessions, a lot of team bonding, some kind of fun team activity, but it's also a tryout period where we kind of select that final varsity team. So most girls that have a good amount of experience will try out for the varsity team. We're pretty intentional about making sure that the right people are trying out for the team, and that if that's not the right fit for you, we wouldn't have you come in early. We'd have you start off with the JV program. And so there's lots of opportunity to find a place in both spots. And we're lucky that we have a great coaching staff at both level. We have typically three coaches at the varsity level and two at the JV level. So at either level, you're getting a lot of attention, a lot of really valuable coaching. And for those who want to go on to play at the collegiate level, we want to make sure that you have all the tools to be able to do that.
Awesome. Thank you. So Minta and Lucy, can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be on the team and to be kind of in with a group of girls who you share an interest, obviously in soccer, but also, you probably are friends with off the field, and then maybe what it's also like to have your coaches be kind of fill other roles at a boarding school. We all wear different hats, and so you probably know them in a few different ways. So can you just talk a little bit about the relationships that you build on the team?
I feel like the soccer team's like a great way to like meet underclassmen or like meet upperclassmen. Like my sophomore year coming in, I was a new sophomore, so I came to preseason. And I feel like the team is more than just like, oh, we're like the soccer team. Like you hang out with, like I hung out with like all the upperclassmen on my soccer team, and like you get to know everyone. It's not like you only hang out or like, for example, like be partners with like your grade during drills. Like it's more of like a group of friends just like hanging out. And also like our coaching staff is more than just like our coaches. Like you see them in chapel, you see them at dinner. For example, like Mr. Stubbs, one of our assistant coaches, is my math teacher this year. Like it's more than just like he's your coach, and I love that I have him as a teacher, and I feel like that's like a great way for them to like know you even more.
Totally agree with you, Lucy. And I think somebody said it earlier, but my experience with the soccer team has been so much fun because everyone loves the game so much and everyone's so committed. And I think that our coaches do an amazing job of not necessarily holding us to a standard, but pushing us to a point where everyone wants to play the game for each other. Like that's totally what the chemistry is like. It's totally what the message of the team is, that you just know. And I think that also what Lucy said, when I came as a junior for preseason, like I would say some of the closest upperclassmen, like some of the upperclassmen I was closest with, were all on the soccer team, just because there isn't really that gap or that division that there might usually be. It's not like turning your nose down or whatever, or creating divides. Like everybody, like I said earlier, wants to play for each other, loves each other. So that's just been amazing. It's just such a great way to meet people. I think just in general, even if, you're not playing on varsity or just playing on JV, you see a lot of people. I feel like also the JV team and the varsity team, like this year, we practiced a lot together, and I think that went amazing. Like I love being able to meet younger girls, and, it's just kind of like a culture. And our coaching staff is so great. Coach Sue, I can talk about Coach Sue. I was helping her with the young alumni, and she's kind of running that. And so having her as a coach, and also as somebody who I'm kind of like working with or trying to help out, it just those different levels of relationships, it's multifaceted. And so I think, like Lucy said, it just makes you so much, or you see them on dorm or you see them on campus. I mean, it makes you trust them more and makes you be able to learn from them easier. And so I love seeing everyone around campus. It makes me excited.
That's awesome. Well, Coach Fitz, can you talk a little bit about what your season looks like in terms of who you compete against? What, obviously it's in the fall at Episcopal, but sort of, you talked a little bit about preseason, but how late in the fall does it usually run, and what your tournaments look like, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so our primary competition is in the Independent School League. There are 15 different schools in the ISL, and we play each fall against different ISL schools from Northern Virginia, from DC, from Maryland. We're lucky that most of those schools, even with traffic, are a 30 or maybe maximum 45-minute trip. So we're really rarely in a position where we're missing any class or getting back late for dinner. And typically we'll play 2, maybe 3 games a week if we play on a Saturday. It's actually it's not very common that we'll play on a Saturday, because there are some girls who will play club soccer, either for Episcopal or opponents at day school, to have that commitment in the fall. And our season will run through the first week of November typically, and end with a league tournament. I think we've had a lot of success with our league, and being able to have some really great competition so close by is unbelievable. That's about it in terms of the schedule. We try to make sure that we're really aware of all of the different demands of students here. It's a demanding schedule with being part of a boarding school. We know that everybody's working hard in the classroom, and that they've got a lot going on outside of soccer. But we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of all the opportunities that we have that are so close by, to be able to compete and to be able to continue to build and play at a higher level.
Awesome. On that same, in the same sort of topic arena, what about off-season approaches? Do you have an off-season program? Obviously, kids at Episcopal may do other sports, and so how do you kind of approach the winter, spring, and then summer leading into the fall?
Yeah, I mean, I think the girls will tell you we always have a summer conditioning program. I think people will embrace that in different ways, and people are able to do different things over the summer depending on where they are and what their schedule looks like. But the expectation is definitely that people are keeping up with both fitness and kind of that skill work over the summer. And we kind of roll right into our traditional season. And then throughout the winter months and the spring months, we're lucky that we have, like Lucy mentioned earlier, 3 turf fields outside, these 2 beautiful Bermuda fields. So there's lots of space outside, but there's also an indoor field house. So there's always a spot to play. And the offerings that we'll kind of support as a coaching staff are usually dependent on the interest. We have so many girls that are invested in other sports and that are doing other things, that it's not a requirement so much as when we have the interest, we want to support that. We've had some years where groups will play in a futsal league independently, so not as an Episcopal team, but that might organize that independently. And because there's so much going on in this area, that's easy to find. And I think it's probably pretty common to see both boys and girls outside in the spring, kind of doing their own thing, playing pickup, getting out on the field as much as they can. And I think they have a lot of fun with each other, but hopefully the girls know that we're here certainly as well if they want to be doing more on their own while we're here on campus.
Awesome. Lucy and Minta, can you talk a little bit about what preseason is like and for those that would be, obviously it's not open for everybody. So it's sort of if you're, potentially trying out for the varsity team, but what does that week look like? What's the commitment in terms of your time that week?
So preseason is, so a group of girls come, I think it's a week in advance to when school starts and everyone arrives to campus, and it's a time for the team to have team bonding, get to know each other, try out for varsity. And usually a commitment during the day is you practice 2 times a day, one session in the morning and one session in the late afternoon. And then you have the middle between those 2 sections off, and it's a great way for new students to get to get into the gist of being on campus, meeting new people. It's that really helped me out when I was in sophomore, and I think that really helps. And then usually at night they plan something. It might be community wide, with other teams, or it could just be with the soccer team. For example, usually we go to Mrs. Fitz's house, Coach Fitz, and we watch a movie in her basement and have dinner over there. And it's just a great way to get to know the team before the season starts and to prepare for the season.
And I agree with everything Lucy said. Preseason at first, you do have to go a week early, but it's not I honestly don't see it obviously as a vacation, but it's not you're going back to campus early or going back to school early. It's totally its own program, and you're spending, while you do have a lot of time commitments and you have 2 practices a day, and you're eating meals with the team and stuff, you also do have a lot of free time, and you get to spend a lot of time on dorm with the girls who are on dorm. So like Lucy said, it's kind of a built-in time to get to know people. But also preseason is kind of, I feel a way to get the kinks out. I feel preseason, you are spending so much time with the team. You guys really kind of start to figure out your rhythm. You guys start to playing soccer again. For a lot of people, it's the first time that they've played in a while. So it's usually just a lot of fun. And it's just work is focused on building the team back together. So if you're interested in playing on varsity, preseason is a good move for sure.
Awesome. Well, Coach Fitz, what about, I think one of the misconceptions about boarding school is that students can't participate in outside athletics. And so what if there's someone who wants to be a part of a club soccer team? How does that work for them?
I think it's worked in different ways for different people. And I would say if that's something that's of interest to you as a student coming to Episcopal, that's a great thing to talk about throughout the admissions process. We have girls on the team who will continue to play with their club teams at home, and those clubs have made a commitment to being flexible with them so that on breaks or over the summer they can practice, or that they can kind of guest in tournaments. There are other girls who will join up with clubs that are local here. And again, it's about finding the right fit, finding a coach that will understand the schedule here at Episcopal. It's not an easy situation to say leave 5 times a week for practice every night when you're so busy here. You kind of got to work a little bit with what's going on at Episcopal to make some choices about how often you're able to leave campus. But we've had a lot of girls do that with a lot of success. And for some, that's important as they pursue hopes to play at the collegiate level. We've had a good number of girls recently go on to play at the Division III level. And most often they're finding schools that are great academic schools that also are good fits for soccer. So kind of recently schools like Middlebury, Babson, Washington and Lee, Denison. And we know that playing club soccer is often something that's important. So it's a little bit more complicated when you're away from home. We're figuring out rides, we're figuring out schedules, we're figuring out lots of different things that if you were at home, you might have a parent or a family member who is able to help you with the day-to-day operations. But if it's something that you want to pursue, it's certainly possible. It takes a commitment, it takes lots of communication, but that's also a good thing to practice and to learn and to work with adults here if that's something that's of interest.
Awesome. So my last question is actually for all of you. And I just would love to know what maybe is a tradition or a favorite moment or memory that you have, just something that you personally really value about your time on the or in the soccer program.
For me, one of my favorite traditions for the soccer team is probably before like games at home and even away, like our pregame talks in the Hall of Fame. It's like a room in the athletic center where we all go into and just discuss like what are we trying to accomplish during the game, like what do we need to work on, what can we do better. Just really helps like put like what's like our motives for going out onto the field. And then also like we always walk out onto the field together before home games, which is always like fun. And then one memory that like I will always remember is junior year playing in the ISL semifinals. Even though we did lose, like it was like our last game of the season, and it really like I felt like we all played like so well, and I was like, oh, we worked so hard for this, and like even though we did lose, like we played really well, and it was a really close game, and we lost in the end. But I'll always remember the game in like a good way because we played really well.
Lucy, I'm gonna have to commend you. Lucy scored, if I'm remembering correctly, our only goal that game, and we almost had it. That definitely, I was gonna say, it was the first thing that popped in my head. That game, the whole tournament, what is just so fun. I mean, I think it's like the highest level of competition. There's the most at stake. I mean, it's the end of the season, so it's some people's last games. You know, you kind of start to realize more what's on the line, and so I think all of us leaned into that so much and like loved it and thrived off of it. And so that tournament was so fun, and those games were so fun because everyone was working so hard. I'll say my favorite tradition, just because I think it really highlights people and highlights things that we do well, which I love always, is yellow jersey. And so that's it starts off, the coaches give it on the first day, or I guess whenever it starts. I think it's the first day. Yes. Okay. But it's when you think somebody who might not necessarily been playing the best or, you know, getting everything right, but somebody who's just been working really, really hard, has been doing something really positive, has been contributing a lot. And so you reward them with the yellow jersey, and then they have it for that next practice. And then after that, they acknowledge somebody else. So it's kind of just like a domino effect. It's a way to recognize people. And I think it also makes me feel good, like, oh, somebody is watching, you know, someone is paying attention. And so that's just, it's always like an accountability thing that I feel like we don't ever really say out loud, but we all are just kind of working for each other, bouncing off each other. So I love that tradition. And I think it's really cute. We all got yellow wristbands this year because we couldn't do a real jersey, but that's me.
I think I love that both of you guys picked out kind of small team moments, because I think sometimes you think, hey, what's your favorite tradition? It has to be a big event or some big game. But those kind of little moments are often the most meaningful and the ones that you remember. For me, I would have picked those same things, but also love the moments where we do get some special opportunities to play in big events. And for soccer, that includes things like the Seminary Hill Cup, which is a fall event that involves all of our fall girls sports, playing against our rivals, St. Stephen's and St. Agnes. And I would say for soccer, from the very first year, and I've been here from the beginning, it has always been super intense and super competitive for soccer. I think we've tied more than, you know, we've won or lost. That's always a crazy battle. And then every other year, we also get a chance to play under the lights when we bring lights in the Hummel Bowl. And that kind of Friday night lights event is a pretty cool thing. So the big events are lots of fun, but you guys hit on the special moments, and those finding those little moments and celebrating those little moments, I think, is kind of what builds a positive culture. And we're so lucky that we've got girls like Lucy and Minta who continue to make sure that that's what's most important. I think everybody's super competitive, but making sure that we're staying on point and prioritizing those things is what makes this group really special.
Awesome. Well, thanks you guys for spending time doing this today, and thanks to all of you who are watching. If you have questions about the girls soccer program, Lucy, Minta, and Coach Fitz would love to help you out and answer any questions that you have or talk to you more about it. So please don't hesitate to reach out to them. And then if you have questions about admissions and that sort of thing, please don't hesitate to reach out to us as well. So thank you all. And like I said, if we can help at all, let us know.